Hi everybody, Happy New Year. We have a new January Club Q kit that we're going to get started on here. This one's called The Wonders of Winter, and it looks like we have suggested royal blue, sky blue, and denim for the chalking inks. And of course, as always, use whatever colors you would like. This one would be kind of fun to add some yellows to, or even purple. Lots of different blues that would go with this. So just kind of grab what you think you would like. Maybe even try some out on a scrap piece of paper and give that a try, because there are lots of different colors. We made this one where it had purple, lovely lilac around the edges of the snowflakes as well, which I thought was really pretty. So you choose what works for you. And like I normally do, I am going to get us started on the diagrams first so that we can get the cutting out of the way. I feel like that's always the hardest part of the kit, and this one, it's not too difficult. So we are going to just get that out of the way. We need the blue paper that looks like this. So it has like a map on one side, which I love this paper. We are going to use the other side. You can kind of see this looks like it has a little bit of purple in it. So if you do decide to add a different color, that would be a good one. We are going to cut the two 5x7s first. So let's put it in any direction. You don't have to worry about which direction. Put it into 7 and trim, and then we'll turn it sideways and do 5 inches and 5 inches. And this is extra, so you can save that for something else or toss it in the garbage. I know we normally say hang on to everything because we use lots of scraps, things that you might think that go in the garbage. But this one, we can get rid of those extra pieces if you want. Okay, we have two 5x7s. With this leftover piece, we are going to cut 3 3¼ by 3¼ So I'm going to put it in long ways and cut it at 3¼ This is just leftover. And then I'm going to I'm going to turn it to 3¼ and we'll just cut squares off of this one. So 3¼ 3¼ and 3¼ This is a little leftover piece you could use for a tag or something. All right, we have those done, and now you actually have 3 pieces of this dotted paper. Has the stripe on one side, dot on the other. We are going to do this diagram. So the first cut I'm going to make is at 4 inches because we need a 4x12. Go ahead and put that in at 4 inches and trim. And then we'll cut 2 4½ by 6½ out of this big piece that's left over. So I'm going to put it into 6½ and trim. This is leftover extra we won't use. And turn it to 4½. Cut 2 of those. And 4½. And trim. Leftover. We won't use that. Okay, so the hardest part is done. We have the diagrams done. The only other cut we will need to make as far as trimming down paper is the yellow paper. I think it is, let's see, you need 2 1/2-inch strips. And we gave you, let's see, a 2-inch piece of yellow, 2x12. And the reason we gave you more than you need is because it's really hard. If we were just give you this much and have it cut it in half, that's really difficult to do. So you have 2 inches and you want to cut Wait, is it 1/4 of an inch or is it 1/2 inch? 1/2 inch. Yeah. So we'll cut a 1/2 inch off. And I always get it lined up, and then I start from the bottom so that when I push up, your paper is going into the top of your trimmer so that it's not going to move around. So push up, and then you have your 1/2 inch strip here. We're going to move it over and cut another 1/2 inch strip, and then you'll have some left over. But start at the bottom, push up, and you have your other 1/2 inch strip. This is just leftover, but you can use it for something else on there if you'd like. And let's see, I think, oh no, we do have another one. Sorry. You have two 3 1/4 by 9 3/4 paper. We are going to cut one of those into, I'm making sure I have this right before I tell you, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So this is already at 3 1/4. We're going to turn it and do 3 1/4, 3 1/4, and then this should make the last piece here 3 1/4. And then your other long piece that's 3 1/4 by 9 3/4 is going to be cut into, they're 3 1/4, so we're going to cut it into 4 1/2. So we go to 4 1/2 here, and then you'll have two pieces like this. Oh, actually, it looks like these both need to be 4 1/2. Yes, these should be the same size. So this one I need to trim down to 4 1/2. Sorry, I had to pause. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing and have you cut. Okay. So this little piece left over, don't need. And then we have two 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, so let's get our background papers out. I think we're done with the cutting for now. I'm keeping my trimmer close just in case I missed something, but I think we got most of that out of the way. And I am going to actually chalk up my background paper before I even get going. And as always, you chalk as you go. You can push pause. And start it again whenever you are ready. I'm chalking mine with Deep Sea. I love this blue color. You could use any sort of yellow, any of the blues. And I'm just kind of making it messy around the edges, adding a little extra around the corners, just to give it a little extra dimension and color. And if you want to not chalk it and leave it, that's fine too. Sometimes I get everything on the page and then I go back and chalk the edges of the background paper so that I know exactly what color I want after everything's on there. But I know I love this color, so I'm going to go ahead and add it to begin with. Okay, we are going to get started layering. Make sure these are all in the picture. Okay, so page 1, we have a 5 1/2 by 12 inch blue paper. We want it 3 1/4 inches up from the bottom of the page. And you can either measure that exactly, 3 1/4, and put this down, or what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lay everything out before I glue anything down so that I can make sure it fits exactly where I want it to. So that is going to go in the middle of the page. Oh, I just found this too. This is the only other cut we will need to make. You can either fussy cut this out or you can do it on your trimmer. And I think I'm going to trim it out on my trimmer here real quick. It's just hard because it's a skinny piece of paper. So if you want to fussy cut it, you can. So I actually, since this is kind of hard to trim out because it's so skinny, I actually left some white around the edges there, and then I'm just going to chalk it up. So whatever is easiest for you. I'll go ahead and chalk that up right now. Or you can cut it out completely and have just the yellow. But I'm just going to kind of make mine a little bit messy with blue, like it's supposed to be that way. And then that's ready for this side. We'll leave it laying there. So I didn't quite trim it down all the way. Okay, so on this side, we have our two yellow strips. And you can either, so these go about 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the blue and 3/4 of an inch down from the top. And you can go ahead and glue those down if you want to, or you can take your big snowflake and make sure that you have them exactly where you want them so that it lines up correctly. Okay. On the inside of that snowflake, we are going to use 3 of the 3 1/4 squares. So you can go ahead and line those up. And it just depends on how you like to work. If you want to glue as you go, that works. I like to kind of get mine laid out so I know if I have it centered correctly. Because I don't really measure everything as far as 3/4 inch up, down. And a lot of times I will just go back in, and if I have things in place where I want them, I'll lift up the edge and just put a little glue on the edge to hold it in place. Just like that. And I have the blue where I want it, so I am going to lift up the blue and put some adhesive under there too, because it doesn't need adhesive all the way across, just enough to hold it down on the page. Or you can pick the entire thing up and put adhesive on the back, lay it back down. That works too. I'm gonna put a little under this edge. But if you want to go by exact measurements, it's 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the blue for this yellow strip, and 3/4 from the top. I did mine just a little more than 3/4, so it just kind of depends on what you like, what look you like. Before you glue down your big snowflake, you want to make sure and chalk up the edges, or if you want to leave it white, that's fine too. I did just the ends of each of the pieces here, just to add a little extra color. And this is where you can add any of the colors that you want to kind of change this up. You want to use yellow, that works too. And I accidentally got some on this side, so I'm evening it out over there. But it's hard to do the entire piece of anything intricate like this, so I just usually do the ends here. Just nice and light on the ends. Once you have the color that you like, then they can be laid back down. my fingers, I have ink all over my fingers, so I'm getting ink everywhere. And that can be glued down. Chalk these up any color you want. Most of it's going to be covered with a photo once you get the photos in there. And then we have some jewels, some blue rhinestones that go just on the ends. There we go. That go just on the ends of your big, oops, I'm looking for my instructions here, of your big snowflake. Oh, here we go. Or your small snowflakes, I'm sorry, right in the middle here. So hang on to your gems once you get your small snowflakes on there. One other thing I want to mention before you glue things down is these snowflakes, you don't want to completely glue down if you don't have your pictures in yet, because you want to be able to lift these up and put a picture underneath there. But go ahead and chalk those up how you would like. Some of these little pieces need a little help punching out. They're a little more intricate, so just take out those little pieces that are still stuck in there. Chalk these up. And if you did blue in the background, you may want to do a different color on these. Or in the big one, maybe a different color on the smaller ones. My paper is a little bit warped, as you can see here, because I accidentally laid it in on a wet counter. So if mine looks a little warped, that's why. Okay, so there's the first page, and then you have a rhinestone to put in each one of those. And on page 2, we are going to start by the 4x12. And what you want to do is score it an inch down. I believe it's a full inch. Let's see. Yeah, you score 1 inch. So you can either put it in your scorer and you want to just score down 1 inch and fold it over. If you don't have exactly an inch, that's fine too. I am just going to fold it over like this. I don't have my scorer tool here, so I'm going to fold it over about 1 inch, crease it, and this is going to go over the edge of your page, which will eventually go over the top of your page protector. And this is an easy way to add more photos to your pages. So on the front of that, you'll have 3 of your 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 squares. I'm going to go ahead and glue those down because I know that's exactly where I want them. And you have a half snowflake that will go on the top of each of these. This glue, I don't know if I've talked about it this month. Last month, a few months ago we found this and we absolutely love it. You don't need a ton. It has a super small precision tip. We have it on our website now because we love it so much. It makes it really easy for small intricate die cuts, which is exactly what I'm about to put on. So these right here, they split in the middle and they're going to just go on the top there. I'm gonna chalk them up a little bit and use this glue I was just talking about, this Barely Art glue, and I just do a couple little dots. And this precision tip is so nice because it allows you to just get a few little places So the flat part goes flush with the blue. And you do that for each one. Just a few dots. And this glue gives you, you know, a couple seconds to kind of move things around, and then it dries permanent and it's super tacky, so it holds it really well, even though you only have a few dots on there. And if you have this all the way at the top there, then this will show you how much space you have to put your quote across the bottom. I'm putting mine fairly close to the bottom, maybe a quarter of an inch up from the bottom. Okay, and then your two big blue, I think they're 5x7s, go on the side here. And you have two dot papers. You could chalk up the edge and put them right on top of there for photo mats. And then your last two pieces, or your last two photo mats, I'm going to chalk them up. And they go right underneath your flaps. So this gives you extra space for two more photos on this page. Take this off here. So this is going to go about a ½ inch from the left side of your page. And what you can do is flip this up, line this up right in the middle there, and these two go right underneath that flap. Okay? So in order to get the flap to stay on, what we want to do is, a lot of times I'll use just my ATG gun and put a couple double-sided tape strips here, but you only want the adhesive on this part, this 1-inch part. Once you have the adhesive on there, you put it behind your page. The fold goes flush with the top and folds right over, and that little flap goes to the back of your page. So when you slide this into your page protector, this part will be on the outside, and you can flip it up and there's space for more photos. Super simple way to add a few more photos. And then you have your last snowflakes, and this is kind of fun to add some different colors here. So adding maybe some blue or green, or I'm going to add, actually this is jade I think, so I'm going to add a little green into it. I should have done one of these in this color. Just add some different greens and blues in there. Once you have your pictures on here, that's when you'll add your last snowflakes so that you're not covering up your picture totally. I'm going to do this one in green just because I have it here. This is Weeping Willow. Yellow would be pretty too. So these will go however you can line it up so that it doesn't cover all of your picture. And we have this fun little embellishment. This is actually from Want to Scrap. We love Michelle at Want to Scrap. Buy lots of embellishments from her. So this piece is going to go, before you glue this down, I would actually put this right underneath. Flip this up too so that you have this space there. That's already glued down. And it'll go just about right there. And what I do with these fancier rhinestones that are all kind of connected is I start with one piece and know where I want to start it. So I peel just the end a little bit and I get it started And then I just start laying it down and peeling the back off, just a little bit at a time. And if it loses its shape just a little bit, it's totally fine. It's just to add a little extra bling, but I found that this was kind of an easy way to make it happen so it's not sticking, the whole piece isn't sticking to your hand. Gets kind of squirrely there. And then you can kind of shape it to what you want. And your last little snowflake, I hope that's all in the picture. Oh, it's not very good in the picture. Sorry about that. Okay. I think it's showing now, so. Okay, so your last snowflakes will get put on. And your rhinestones. And you are done. Add a little more bling here. You have some extra bling, I think, so you can add it wherever you want. I'm going to do a big one in the middle here, and then smaller on the side. It's up to you how you want to use these. And then once this is glued on, actually I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on. Try not to glue everything down in case I need to show you one more, or show you again what, or if I mess up, then I can still peel it up and move it. And there's some small ones to use on these, or you have some extra medium ones, big ones. Up to you how you want to use it. But there you have your winter page. I hope you enjoyed January Club Q, and we appreciate you being a Club Q member, and we will see you next time.